The answer to 1984 is 1776.
This is going to be a bizarre one. Hey there guys, Nordic Warrior here, welcome back to my video game review series. So it's been a while since the last time I reviewed a new release. In fact, if I remember rightly, I think the last new release I reviewed was Hitman 3, which I got on its release day. And to be honest, reviewing modern games isn't really in the spirit of the channel, since I prefer to stick to retro gaming. I have reviewed some modern games, but they tend to be retrospective reviews of ones that have been out for a while. As long-time subscribers of mine will know, I just can't really get into modern games, since I find them to be bloated, and a complete waste of time for the most part. Of course it doesn't help that they feel as if they're all written by the same people. So yeah, long story short, I personally prefer to stick to retro games. However, this game that just came out really caught my attention for obvious reasons, and I just had to check it out, due to sheer curiosity and the absolute absurdity of it. So yeah, for those of you who don't know, this past week a video game based on Alex Jones was announced. And when I heard about it, I honestly thought it must have been a joke, like a meme or something. But no, the game is actually real, and it's available for PC, straight from Alex's website, with a pretty on-the-nose price of $17.76. And call me crazy, but I bought the game and decided to play it. And I figured it would be pretty funny to review it. So the game is a retro 2D side-scrolling shooter where you play as Alex himself as he takes on the evil satanic elite in an attempt to save the free world from tyranny. Those of you who have been following my channel will know that I have a soft spot for old school retro side-scrollers like this, since I grew up with these kinds of games. For example, one of the first games I ever owned was the original Rayman on the PS1. And games like this really have taken off in the indie gaming scene in recent years. Obviously, depending on your own personal political views, the plot is something you're either gonna love or hate. Me personally, I found it hilarious. One thing you cannot deny though, is that it's edgy, and it's gonna piss a lot of people off. As far as the overall gameplay goes, it's about as basic and generic as you'd expect from a side-scroller. You basically move from one side of the level to the other, blasting everything in your path, earning points and wiping out enemies until you get to the next boss battle. The game consists of 4 levels, each with their own visual style and aesthetic, as well as enemies. You defeat enemies by shooting them with your default pistol, which has infinite ammo, and feel free to spam bullets as you go through the game never punishes you for it, at least not to my knowledge. If enemies get too close to you, then you can take them out with a melee attack, which consists of a knife. It's simple enough since the melee button and the fire button are the same, and most enemies die in one hit. The game actually does have a surprising amount of enemy variety, for a game that's only about 40 minutes long. Yeah, more on that later. And some of them have their own unique attacks. In addition to your pistol and your knife, you can also find a minigun at various points in each level that has limited ammo. And this is of course significantly more useful than the pistol. The only other weapon that you get is a flamethrower. Some of the later stages have a little bit of platforming, but nothing special. The funniest thing about the game by far is the one-liners from Alex himself, which consist of one of the many quote-unquote conspiracy theories he's been involved in over the years. And some of these actually had me in stitches.
Paul McCartney died 50 years ago!
And to top it all off, Alex actually voices himself in the game, giving it some authenticity. I swear he could have genuinely made a career as a voice actor if he wanted to. There are also some interesting cameos in the game. For example, you team up with the likes of Joe Rogan, who for some reason in this game is a centaur. Yeah, I'm not actually sure what the reference is there. I don't listen to Joe Rogan much. I'm sure some of you will probably get it. You also team up with Tucker Carlson, and even Donald Trump. So yeah, did I mention this game was edgy? It sure is. As far as the levels themselves, you start off in Dr. Fuka's lab, where you have to save the puppies from being experimented on. You later end up in Silicon Valley, a certain island that will remain nameless for obvious reasons, wink wink, and even Canada during the convoy protests. You get a short driving section here that was pretty funny. So yeah, the game's locations, as few in number as they are certainly diverse and varied. And for me, the absolute best thing about the game is the boss battles. Yeah, the boss battles in this game are epic, really badass, and they stand out from the rest of the game. Each level has 2 bosses, a midway boss and an end boss. You defeat the boss by simply spamming bullets at them, while avoiding their rather predictable attacks. As simplistic and easy as the boss battles are, they at very least stand out and look great, and I had a lot of fun with them. One major criticism you could level at the game is the lack of difficulty or overall challenge. The game is extremely easy for a side-scroller, and I was able to complete it with only getting game over once. And that was only because it had been a while since I played a game with a keyboard, and I was still getting used to the controls. Once I got used to them, I was able to breeze the game very easily. There are even health pickups which give you extra lives. You start each level with 9 lives, and if you lose any, you can pick up extra lives along the way, and there's quite a few of them. So the game is very forgiving in this regard. So if you're looking for a genuine challenge, or you're a veteran of games like Metal Slug, then you're not going to find that here. And as I mentioned before, the game is incredibly short, taking about 40 minutes to complete, which makes the asking price a bit steep. And obviously with this being an indie game, and a very low budget one at that, it's incredibly limited and simplistic. But here's the thing though, despite all this, and despite how objectively limited this game is in terms of overall content, I genuinely had an absolute blast playing it. There was never a single moment while playing this game that I was bored. The combat, while simplistic, is fast paced, hectic, and a lot of fun while it lasts. The boss battles are pretty epic, and the overall absurdity of the whole thing, as well as Alex's one-liners, had me in stitches throughout. I honestly can't remember the last time I laughed this much while playing a game. So many games try too hard to be edgy and offensive, yet are too scared to actually include anything that genuinely offends anybody, coming across as pretentious. This game is unapologetic with its edgy content, and it works perfectly in the way that it's supposed to. So despite everything, I had more fun with this game than I've had with pretty much any modern game in the past few years. I'm honestly sick and tired of all these bloated, pretentious, cinematic tech demos, and I want to get back to playing games that actually feel like games, made for the purpose of entertaining you and having fun. And this game can certainly lay claim to that. I give the game a generous 7 out of 10, I honestly really enjoyed it. Would I recommend it though? Well, that really depends on your own personal taste. If you like side-scrollers like I do, and retro games, then you might enjoy this. If you're a fan of Alex and his content, then you're probably going to love the game. But the price is definitely a bit steep, particularly since, as far as I'm aware, you can't actually download the game, and you have to be online to play it. Hopefully that changes and the developers make it downloadable. I bought the game and I'm concerned that it might actually get taken down. We'll see what happens. Thanks for watching guys, I really enjoyed checking the game out. Let me know what you guys think, stay tuned for more retrospective video game reviews. Once again I have a lot of reviews coming to the channel in the near future. Thanks for watching and God bless.